Good afternoon or evening, as it may be. I'd like to first of all thank the foundation for the support and all the work, and Keitha Mills is back there. If we could have an applause for her and her fine work and the staff as well. Throughout the day, we've heard a lot about the strategies that we're using in order to better serve veterans and understand the military culture. Marshall, great presentation this morning about all of those aspects, and ultimately what we're working at is making sure that we transition our veterans not only into students, but help them with their careers, because it's a good thing for them and their families, but it is also a great thing for all of us because of the contributions that we know that they make after they get into those careers. But this evening, we're going to learn about an approach that is used, and certainly there are many, as we've engaged in this afternoon, but there's an approach that uses theater arts to help veterans come to terms with some of the emotional scars inflicted by war. Bruce Solheim, who's with us this afternoon, is a professor of history at Citrus College. He serves as a veterans advocate and will lead one of our panel discussions in tomorrow's program. Bruce is also a playwright and spent 6 years writing The Bronze Star, of which we're going to see a piece here, and was produced at Citrus College and just finished a 2-week run there. The play, which was directed by Neil Wise, tells the story of a heroic gay Vietnam veteran and his struggle to quiet the ghosts of the past and find acceptance, peace, and purpose in an intolerant society. The Los Angeles Daily News recently described Bronze Star as spanning the period from the Vietnam War to today's war on terror, and is a powerful cautionary tale dramatizing the sacrifices our soldiers made to preserve our freedom. This evening, Bruce and the play's directors are joined by a few of the actors, including veterans who performed the play and will reenact a scene for us. Afterward, we can hear how participation in this project has helped with their transition to civilian life. Now I have to warn you, first of all, that the scene depicts soldiers in the heat of combat and includes harsh language and mature content. But that reflects the realism that playwrights and actors aspire to create. But if you feel that anything in the scene might bother you, please feel free to step out for a few minutes and then join us to hear from our student actors about their experience, if you wish. So please do that. So now I'd like to turn it over to Bruce Solheim, who can introduce the directors and actors and tell us about this project. Bruce.
All right, thank you very much for having us here tonight. It's our pleasure to be here. And I just want to say that this experience of taking a play from an idea in my head to put it on stage and then have veteran actors be part of it is like a dream come true. And it couldn't have been done without our producer, Sherry Brown, and our director, Neil H. Weiss. So I was going to have them say a few things before and make them or have them introduce the scene that we're going to do. So I'll let them say a little bit now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be here and to be a part of this experience. This has been an exciting event. About 2 years ago, Bruce came to me with this script, and he said, Sherry, I've never really written a play before, but I have this story that I've got, and I really think it needs to be in an active format. Would you mind reading it? And I run the performance end of the theater theater arts at Citrus College, so that's how we kind of connected. We also came on board at Citrus College at the same time. And so I read it, and it was kind of this epic at the time. And so I said, it's got a great story, a great idea, and I decided, I was going to hook him up with Neil Weiss, who's not only a wonderful director, but also a screenwriter and a playwright, and teaches also at Citrus College in screenwriting and camera acting. So we all got together, and I gave it to him, and over the last 2 years, we've had staged readings of it. We've had informal readings where the first one was I literally would take an actor, one of my students, and say, "What are you doing this afternoon? Here's a script, read this part," and we would get together, and then it got more and more formal as we went along to what we eventually came up with this last November. So it's been a journey, a joy, and a journey, and it's taught me so much about the process, about veterans, about the struggles. It's taught me more than I ever thought I would know. So I appreciate that knowledge and what I gained from that also. So with that, I think I'm going to turn this over to Neil, and he can talk a little bit about his process. But before I do want to say one more thing. It is amazing what theater arts and what the arts can do for students who are not necessarily possibly going to be actors or directors or designers, but what the arts, and not just in theater, but in music and in art and dance, and how the arts itself make a person grow and make a person develop and allow them then to become fine human beings, more well-rounded human beings, no matter what area of interest. It really doesn't matter. Doctors, lawyers, anybody. It's just, and I feel like I need to be an advocate for it these days. And so that's why I'm saying that. And I'm very proud to be an advocate for the theater arts and for the arts in the community college system. So thank you very much.
I also would like to thank everyone for inviting us here. As you've heard, it's been a really amazing process. When I first was pulled into an office with Sherry and met Bruce for the first time and took a look at the script, I thought, okay, this is quite a journey we're about to embark on. And indeed, it has been. To talk about our process, which we should do after you see the scene, I think is a really vital part of it, because not only does material in Hollywood, some of it doesn't turn out so well, as we all know, but everything goes through a development process, as did this play. But also what's wonderful about what Sherry said and about getting our community college students, our veterans, participating in these types of artistic processes is it allows them to go through a process. It allows them to go into perhaps troubling, vulnerable, or even in some cases darker areas of their psyche or experience, and to do so in a safe space and in a very safe way. And that's something I always sort of knew, but now I know in my heart, because I've just spent 2 years of my life working with a wide range of students and veterans and instructors to discover the truth of that statement. So I, too, can't emphasize enough the value and importance of things like these experiences, as well as the generosity of the California state education system for putting classes like the one I'm privileged to teach, a stage and screenwriting class, into place so that people have some place to come to tell their story. Whether that story winds up being a movie of the week or a $200 million blockbuster or just sits in their drawer the rest of their life. It's incredibly valuable. And for our education system to recognize the value in that process is phenomenal. And I'm very proud and honored to be asked to teach a course like that. This piece came to us through Bruce. Let it be known that our main character, Carl, was a vet, a gay Vietnam vet, a real person who, after he left this mortal coil, as Shakespeare says, Bruce was given his diaries and audio tapes from which he culled this story. So it's all very, very truthful and comes from a very real place. That's very important, I think, for everyone to know about what they are to see. The material itself, because it's a bifurcated story, deals with a group of Vietnam veterans in a vet center in East LA in the eve of 2001 of the 9/11 attacks. And then our main character, because of the war on terror that evolves, starts experiencing flashbacks to his own sort of 9/11 in Vietnam. And that's the part that was read dealing with sort of quieting or laying to rest his ghosts. So in our production, and the way Bruce so amazingly constructed was a little crazy, but you had two stories present on one stage at all times. You had the present and the past, and sometimes they interacted and overlapped, as they do in our heads, often. And then sometimes they were very separate. So what you're about to see tonight is a flashback to 1968 Vietnam. It comes near the end of the play. It's the sequence that happens right before the big firefight that goes down that doesn't have such great consequences. So I would like to reiterate that if this would be a hard R rating were we seeing a movie. So both Bruce and I felt to keep the truthfulness of the combat experience, we needed to keep that level of intensity there. So there is language, and there is sort of some physical violence that happens in the scene. So just so you're prepared for that. After you watch the scene, we'll introduce the four actors and hopefully open up and take your questions to them about what their experiences were working on the project and what it did for them. We have two veteran actors and two non-veteran actors. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and bring the actors out, and we can get going. You guys want to come out?
You're about to see a scene from The Bronze Star, a play written by Bruce Olive Solheim and Neil H. Weiss. It is based on the story of a Vietnam vet named Carl. Excuse me, I'm Philip. Philip Stafford. I was a loadmaster on the C-130s in Vietnam Air Force. I'm a character in the play. The play takes place at the East LA Vet Center in 2001 and in a flashback in 1967 and 1968. In our group at the East LA Vet Center, a lot of us are trying to make sense of the past so we can move forward. I can tell you, no matter what war, at the center, we are vets from Vietnam, Kosovo, the Gulf War. Coming home ain't what you thought it would be. Ain't no sense in going home. Jody's got your girl and gone. Ain't no sense in looking back. Jody's got your Cadillac. You like that? Yeah, it's I sing it when it gets too heavy in the vet center. Jody, you know, the thing is that I sing it because Carl had a lot to handle after his tour in 1968. That's what the play is about, his journey from the jungles of Vietnam in 1968 to the streets of East Los Angeles 2001, and the ghosts he has to lay to rest. Oh, here, I'll let the characters introduce themselves.
First Sergeant John Jenkins, Americal Division, I Drang Valley 65, July to defensive 68.
Specialist Mac Morano, Grunt, Radar Crew, fucking Chulai, South Vietnam. Hey, from Brooklyn, baby, peace, love, and death from above.
Sergeant Carl F. Eliason, Chulai, South Vietnam, 1967-68. U.S. Army, Americal Division, Radar Crew Chief.
Carl knew his shit. Great guy and very misunderstood. He returned from Vietnam to a lot of resistance and rejection. Lots of us Vietnam vets had this experience, but with Carl, It was more than his fair share. See, he was different than many of us. He was gay. He was rejected by society twice, one for being a Vietnam vet and for being gay. Then he was rejected by his family. Triple rejection. You tell me, who can take that? Like a lot of us returning vets, Carl had PTSD. The group at East LA Vet Center helped me with mine and was helping Carl too. He eventually opened up to us and told us the final confrontation he had with Jenkins and the price he had to pay. Flashback. Chu-Lai dusk, February 1968, the Tet Offensive. We hear Huey helicopters and coming and going and some radio chatter.
What happened to Swanson?
I told you, he was dead, dumb shit.
But how?
How do you think? Friendly fire, chopper went down. Do we have second, third platoon reinforcing the flanks?
No, Captain Buttons never said nothing.
We can't leave our flanks exposed. Where the fuck's the radio?
It's not working.
Fucking idiots.
Hey, quiet! You guys hear that?
They stand still for a moment, then a very loud sound from the radar.
Hey, what the fuck is that?
Charlie's coming in force. We got movement. Large and small groups, all trails.
Hold this position no matter what, understand?
Where are you going?
I'm going to get those platoons for reinforcement. Now, I gave an order. Fucking hold this position.
But where is Captain Buttons?
Never mind that now. Do what I said, and you may survive this.
I know you killed Captain Swanson.
Shut the fuck up. Unless you want to go home in a body bag like your boyfriend. Now, get your hands off me.
Here they come!
What did you do to him?
I'll watch my back if I were you, Sergeant. You're in a world of shit where your life means nothing. Enemy fire, friendly fire, same. No questions. Understand?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, First Sergeant.
Now, waste these fucking gooks. Anybody runs, kill him.
Carl, what do I do?
Fuck, get down, Mac.
They're everywhere!
All hell breaks loose. Artillery, AK-47s, machine guns.
Die, motherfuckers! Woo! Die! Fuck! I don't fucking believe this!
The battle noise subsides.
Stay still, Mac. I got you. I won't let you go.
Fuck! Son of a bitch! I don't fucking believe this!
Easy, man. You're gonna be all right.
Don't fuck with me! How's it look?
I told you. You're gonna be okay, Mac.
I'm home. This is my family. It don't hurt no more. Like a dream.
No. More like a nightmare.
End of scene.
So, thank you. And I'd like now for the actors to introduce themselves. And go ahead. Why don't you start, Garn?
Hi, my name is Garn Markarian. My name is Nicholas Murphy.
I'm Sergio Venegas.
Anthony Vidalis.
And we have a fifth. We have a fifth veteran who is also in the play. He's a Vietnam veteran, Frank Chavez, who we didn't do one of his scenes, but he's part of the big climax at the end as well. So, Frank, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. My name is Frank Chavez. I'm a Vietnam veteran and Bronze Star recipient. I met Bruce at a stand-down meeting one evening, and he invited me to participate in the play, so I auditioned, and he cast me as the role of the older First Sergeant Jenkins.
So some of our characters appear as young men in Vietnam and then circle back around in 2001 as middle-aged men. And this is a case where we were double casting, or I was casting an older version of the younger actor. This happened in several of our other roles. So how would you like this to proceed? Would you like to open it up to questions, or would you like to hear the guys talk about their experience working with the show? Okay. Great. You guys, there's still mic'd, yes? Great. So why don't we start with Anthony? You talk about getting your involvement in the show.
I got a mic. I'm good. Well, like I said, my name is Anthony Vidalis. I am one of the veterans. I was in the Marines from 2004 to 2009, and then again from 2011 through 2012. Both times I left the Marines, I was medically discharged. So it is very, I obviously have one of the roles of First Sergeant Jenkins. I honestly, I really don't even know where to start. There's so much to say that it was working in this production. It was probably one of the best things I could have done. You know, it challenged me, and it felt like home. You know, if any of you are veterans out there, you know how it is to be in a unit with your brothers, and no worries, it's home to you, and then you leave that, and what do you have now? You know, the whole world's against you now. No one's there to watch your back. No one's relying on you, and you're not relying on anybody else. It's just you and the whole world by yourself, you know, and for the longest time, I was up and down, and then I started doing this whole play, and then people were relying on me. And as I relied on them, it was that brotherhood, that connection that was definitely missing in my life. So I think for now, that's what I'll say. If anyone has questions, you know, they can really feel free to ask. I just have one warning, that because of my experiences, I no longer hold anything in. I speak true. If you want to know my deployments, I'll tell you my deployments. If you want to know the truth, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. I'll tell you, yes, this is what I saw, this is what I did. And I've learned over the years, as I do that, I overcome my demons, as you could say. Back in 2007, I was diagnosed with high PTSD. As of 2012, I show no signs or symptoms of PTSD. That's because of arts, photography, theater. I mean, I don't know where I would be with arts. I don't. So that's enough for me.
Again, my name is Frank Chavez. I'm a Vietnam War veteran. This play has been very personal for me because after I returned from Vietnam in 1969, I had to go to the East Los Angeles Vet Center to work out some issues that were happening with me and my family. So this is all very personal for me. Right now, I work with the Epilepsy Foundation in Los Angeles. I reach out to veterans to raise awareness about seizure recognition, traumatic brain injury, and concussions, and how it relates to post-traumatic epilepsy. So I'm really honored to be part of this group here. And I'm very honored to be in front of you guys because I used my GI Bill, and I got my degree at Cal State Los Angeles in social welfare and corrections. I spent 20 years in the California Department of Corrections as a parole agent.
No, he's mic'd.
I'll hold it for you.
Once again, my name is Garn Markarian. I have been at Citrus for 4 years now. I've been in the theater department, heavily involved in the theater department all 4 years. This is, I believe, my 5th production there. I've worked with both Sherry and Neil in the past, and I've even taken Bruce's history class at the school. So yeah, like I said, I've been very heavily involved, but this production is nothing like I've ever done at the school or anywhere else for that matter, especially anywhere else. I was a part of one of the previous readings in the past, but to come and be in the fully produced production was nothing like that. It was such an honor to get to work with veterans and my fellow acting students and even some professors in the school were in the cast with us. And it was just an incredible experience, and it pushed me as an actor, as a person, to places that I never thought I would be pushed to. And I've learned so much, and I am so grateful to those three over there and the people standing next to me for this opportunity. So, thank you.
My name is Nicholas Murphy. This is wrapping up my third semester at Citrus College. I was involved in the Bronze Star, the dramatic stage reading that we had last fall in the Hall Performing Arts Center, and I was just ensemble then. I was just glad to be a part of the program, and little did I know how much this play would have changed my perspective and just my whole being. Working in this show, along with veterans and along with Bruce and Neil and Sherry, just so close with all of them, I really got to see a lot more of the outreach that our school is doing and how much they really care for all of the students. Getting this role, I never expected it. I'd never done a role this large before and a role so heavy. There's so much that's addressed and so much that is personal to myself. Just working on this show, there was rehearsal where young Carl returns home to his family, and his father isn't even there to greet him. And his mother has a priest there waiting for him at home to confront him about the letters that she read in his footlocker that he wrote to another man and another man wrote back to him. And that scene truly, it didn't mirror, but it was very close to an experience that I've had. And working with that connection with Carl and just feeling that weight that he had to carry for years and years and years through being a veteran, through being gay, through all of the things that he had to deal with. It is truly a great program that Bruce and Sherry and Neil are putting together with everyone. Anthony and Frank and Sergio, I wouldn't trade the experiences I've had for anything. The bond that we had with everyone in the show, all my brothers in Vietnam, which I still call them that, we were a family. We had that connection. We worked towards it, we achieved it, and it was real. And I'm very glad to be a part of it.
I'm Sergio Venegas. This is actually my third semester at Citrus College. I too am a veteran. I was in the United States Air Force from 2007 to 2011. I was a water specialist or plumber, AKA. But I loved my experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I decided I wanted to go to school, and once I went to school, I realized that I fell in love with the theater program immediately at the theater department. And this became my first ever acting role performance, and I loved it. I loved the idea of the play itself, just for the fact being, not just for the military aspect, but also with the relationship with, the gay Vietnam veteran. Because when I was stationed in the military, you did see a lot of that. You did see a lot of gay soldiers and airmen and sailors and Marines that were hiding because they couldn't be open about themselves. So in a way, they had to put another uniform on, not just their utility uniform on. They had to put their straight uniform on. And to see this play come alive and the hours we spent, I mean, I truly believe that it was a great experience for me and for everybody else here. I mean, I love everybody here that I worked with. Just such a great atmosphere. Neil and Bruce and Sherry, who really took a great direction with the play. And I couldn't ask for a better experience. With me, a lot of the things that I did as far as, for PTSD, I would never wish it upon my enemy. It's a serious thing, and it's a serious issue that it has been around for years, but now they've diagnosed it as PTSD, And for me, you know, a lot of things, like Tony was saying, you know, art, for me, it was stand-up. That was my therapy. Doing stand-up comedy was my therapy. Making jokes about stuff that had happened in my life was therapeutic to me, and doing it in a room full of strangers was perfect, because it was that feedback I got. And to do this performance was almost therapeutic was therapeutic as well, and I loved it, and I appreciate everything I learned today, so thank you.
Does anyone have any questions they'd like to direct towards any of the actors? I'd like to say, as a director, part of my process was I went to Anthony early on because I had a lot of young Southern California boys, actors, who had no clue what went on in the military. And I said, okay, Anthony, these are your men. And before every rehearsal, he put them through a boot camp. And there was the 6 or 7 of these guys, and Anthony was running around screaming, barking at them, shouting orders, and the other cast members would sit and watch. And then they'd come up to me and they'd say, can we do that too? Can we do that too? And sure enough, before long, we had 3/4 of the cast. The girls in the ensemble were out there trying to keep up with the guys, and they were doing all kinds of stuff. But I can't help but think we never could have gotten our non-veteran actors into that frame of mind without Anthony's help, and I've never actually thanked you for that.
You're
so
welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Sorry, I got like really bad hearing, an IED, so.
Did you also had a counselor working with you at the same time when you started the theater?
Honestly, prior to theater, I always, well, let me step back first. When I first got out in 2009, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I was just, the statistic, the norm is to get out of the military and go to school because you have this GI Bill, and that's what I did. I really did not know what I wanted to do. So I went to school and I just started taking whatever classes, you know, like, oh, you know, the GI Bill doesn't pay me to live off for 3 years? Hell yeah. So, you know, that's what I did. I honestly, truly, I will be honest, I took advantage of a privilege. And I wish I did not, because if I did, I could have pulled back and got more involved in theater. And it's sad that it took me this long to realize that. But it's a lesson learned that I'm moving forward from. So with that being said, I did the Citrus for a while, then I did the Police Academy over at Rio Hondo, and then I came back to Citrus. And that's when I actually met Dr. B. I learned about the play. I was getting more involved at the vet center there. Monica helped me out a little bit. And you know, the biggest credit I owe to Citrus College is Teresa. She was that voice in my head, is like, get your head out of your ass kind of thing, you know? Like, we veterans, we're not used to having our hands held. We're used to being told. So with Monica's help, Teresa's help, Dr. B's like, hey, I have this play about, you know, Vietnam, audition for it. Okay. I was given an order. I was like, hey, audition for it. Like, okay. And you know, so I did, and next thing you know, it started running off, and then I got more involved in the arts. I do photography. Like, do my photography, I express what I feel. You know, for everything from PTSD to my loneliness to my depression. I will admit, I was an alcoholic for a while. Got help. Like, I personally got help. I saw the problem, and nobody told me I had a problem. I told myself I had a problem, so I got the help. So it's all through, I mean, I cannot say it enough. It's literally photography, arts, theater that saved me. And these 3 that saved me. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, you did.
And one of you had mentioned about how your perspective had changed throughout the production. And a lot of times, for those of us who work with veterans, we hear complaints in the VRC is like, oh, for those that are non-veterans, so their other student counterparts is like, oh, and they're on Facebook in class, and oh, they don't pay attention, and oh, they should listen, and they're so disrespectful. Is vice versa from you all working with the cast of vets and then all students, but vets and non-vets. How did your perspectives change of each other?
Well, you guys want to take it first?
Yeah. I've never really worked with veterans ever before. And in my family, I never really knew too many. I know my grandpa, he did serve in the Navy, but I never had a chance to really ever talk to him. But I took the Vietnam War history class, and there were veterans in that class, and it was one of the greatest experiences ever because they were feeding into our discussions so much. They had so much to offer, and that's what really drove me to audition for the play again and to try it out. And working with them, we'd go through rehearsal, and me being very unknowledgeable about anything military, any veteran process or anything like that, they would pull me aside. They just casually would just have a conversation about ways I could improve, certain ways to say things, way to carry myself, how to treat the first sergeant or captain, just basic mannerisms and just knowing my place in this military world on stage. And they helped me out so much, and they're all very good friends of mine now, and I'm very glad to have been a part of it.
Garland?
Yeah, like Nick said, I've never known any veterans on a personal level. I have never had any in my family. I've never known anybody outside of my family. So this didn't change my perspective as much as it gave me a perspective. And that perspective was that they are hardworking, passionate, loving people. Anthony, one of the rehearsals, brought in his body bag from when he was overseas, and he explained to us that this body bag was his, and it had his name on it if God forbid he should ever need it. And it just kind of hit us like a ton of bricks. And for Anthony to open up to us that way and to share that with us and show us something that personal was just incredible. And so I've learned now that veterans are just like any other human being, except they just understand more about the importance of life and of connections with other human beings and relationships. So, yeah.
Good, dude. You about to tear to my eye, dude. You about to tear to my eye. So, Frank?
Excuse me? I think I spoke. I believe I spoke. Should I say more? Again, it was a great experience working with these guys, especially with First Sergeant Jenkins. I had to play the older sergeant that came back. And I came back as a homeless man in a wheelchair, but I was still the antagonist. And I still attacked Carl. And the scene's very emotional. And eventually Carl ends this whole situation by telling old man Jenkins that it's over with. It'll never happen. It happened, but it'll never concern him again. I think it's a great role. I wish some of you go see this play. It's just a fantastic play. Some great actors here, a great director. And I believe it's going to go far. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing goes on the road. Anyhow, thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, just real quick, as far as you coming back and being 26, 27 in a room with a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds where they're texting, talking back and forth. And I think the reason I clicked really well with my character, because I was that Marine. I was a hard ass. I was forward, front. Besides the killing, the prostitution, betrayal, this and that, I was the hard ass Marine on my Marines. So if I told you to do something, you're doing it. So I was used to order, authority, respect, this and that, and like you get to the classroom environment, a lot of these 16, well, not 16, 18, 17, 19-year-old kids, they don't have it. But I stepped back and I learned that, you know what, that is their path. They're traveling and not me. They're just a sight that I'm seeing as I travel my path. If they want to stay in the back and they want to laugh off mommy and daddy's thousands of dollars that they're paying for their education, that's fine. Because like he was saying, you know, like this is a whole nother group. The theater production people, they're serious. You're not gonna come to theater and make a fool of yourself and not be serious about it. I mean, I think this is why us veterans click so well with theater, and it's, we make our fool out of ourselves in our units. We have no safe cushions. We have no boundaries. We have nothing, and then I think that's what made us really click really well. And I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question directly, but he wanted me to point out something. With the body bag, my unit, I was involved in special operations, and I was black marked. Every time I went to a village, you know, the surgeons, oh, you're, you know, Corporal Vidales. I know you. Like, oh shit, really, dude? And me being the kind of the smart aleck that I am, like, okay, I'll beat them to the punchline. And I got all of us body bags, you know, and they had our names on it. Like, holy crap, this is actually serious. So, as a realization, something I would do to my young Marines, so they knew this is real life, this is serious, I would have them get in body bags. So if they wanted to be complacent, they didn't want to take their training serious, this is where they were going to end up. This was the last thing they were going to see. And I challenged all the actors to get in that body bag, and they all did it. So like they all got in the body bag, and that's where my respect for them came out, because they're taking their roles as serious as I took my training. So.
And to piggyback off that, as the director, I felt, you know, Sherry and I can't say enough about Sherry Brown, the producer and who runs the program there, to having the vision and the foresight and generosity of heart to put these things into place, because there's a lot of moving parts here with a lot of things that could have gone wrong at any given moment. And thank God, knock wood, it didn't happen. But what I wanted to say was I was very, very hyper aware of my responsibility to, number one, create a safe space for my actors and my veterans to work in and to do this work. But I was also very aware and had to convey to my 18 and 19-year-old and 20-year-old texting actors that I wanted to kill at moments that they had a huge responsibility, because they were playing characters, they were playing men who in most of their cases had laid down their lives. Because in the play, we lose a few characters along the way. And if that didn't scare the crap out of them, I reminded them that we were going to have real live veterans sitting in the audience watching them. And there was gonna be a really great bullshit meter happening. And these kids better get with the program or get off the bus, because none of us had the time to dilly-dally around with this. So I think by dovetailing off of what the veterans were bringing to us, I really sought to try and keep the standard at that level. I also, as the director, who we directors like to think we're in charge of things, we're never in charge of anything, I was very, very open in this process. When I did not have an answer to a question, I turned to Anthony, I turned to Sergio, I turned to Frank numerous times, or to ask them to answer the question, to make their experience part of our process. Also, I'd be in the middle of explaining something, and I'll never forget Frank would go, Neil, can I say something? And I'm like, oh God, here we go. My bullshit meter better be working too. And he would say, I would offer this point of view to take into consideration for this moment in the script. And I would go, yeah, you know what? Listen to Frank. That's a much better idea. So talking about changing perceptions, it became a production and a process about listening and really hearing what each other had to say. And I think that's sort of the big key. And I think that's why we've been successful with it today, and hopefully will continue to be. So I just felt I needed to interject that. I also would encourage any of you who are in the system working maybe in your own division or your own department to do what Sherry has done with Bruce and reach out to other divisions and other departments to collaborate in ways outside the box that you would never think would work, to just see what happens, because that takes real vision and it produces amazing results. So again, I think if any of you are in here, and I don't know everyone's roles and responsibilities sitting in here, from counselors to educators, if you can force yourself to sort of break out of the way you think about how you're conducting business in your departments to try and achieve results, please do it. You can also talk to any three of us, and we'll be happy to guide you through answer any questions or guide you through any processes if you want to try and step off this sort of art and PTSD and veteran and sort of combining processes. We're very happy to be a part of that discussion with you. So I'm sorry for the PSA I just did right there.
Well, I want to thank you, and I want to thank all of you. You guys did just a wonderful job. Just a wonderful job. They literally were given yet another kind of rewritten script because we couldn't bring every actor. It was a cast of 35, I think, and so we couldn't bring everybody up, so they really kind of took it and took some of this material very quickly and got it done. You know, just real fast, I really want to thank the Fine and Performing Arts Division at Citrus College. They supported me and supported this production. Dean Robert Slack, the Board of Trustees, the President, Dr. Geraldine Perry, all of them were all on board with this, and you know what? We can't and wouldn't be able to do that without that kind of support also. The Veterans Center, totally there, donating some money to us for this production, you know, because it's, you know, with everything costing so much, and we wanted to make it and give it the best we could. So it was not just a combination of our spirits coming together, but we also commingled some funds to make this happen. So that was really, really terrific. I want to thank you so much for this opportunity. It was an honor and a privilege to be here and to present this scene to you and to show you the Bronze Star. So thank you so much.
I want to thank the three of you, Bruce, Neil, and Sherry, for the work that you've done in putting all of this together, because I think that theater certainly is not only a means by which we entertain, but also very much, as you say, a means by which we render therapy. And I want to thank the five of you for the work that you've done on this, particularly the three of you, the veterans, because as much as we may find therapy in these things, I imagine that it is difficult at times to go through the process. So I want to thank you very much for your efforts. I haven't seen the play except the skit, but I'm sure that those of us that have not will certainly take the opportunity to do that very soon. So thank you very much. Sharon, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else, but hopefully you can hang around a little bit and chat with us in a formal way. Again, thank you. If we could have one last applause. Thank you very much.
Real quick, we do have some production photos from the production that we did. We have them on that back table back there. If you wanted to see what the whole production looked like in, you know, when we did it in November. Again, thank you.
I just want to say one thing real quick. As a veteran who had tremendous PTSD, I'm talking like bad. It was bad. I probably will never get this opportunity again to be around so many influential people that could impact veterans. My biggest thing I hope you guys leave here is not to hold our hands, to challenge us, push us. Because, like I said, a lot of us come back with PTSD, and some of it is hidden. Some of us hide behind it. I mean, I hid behind mine for the longest time, you know. And No, I'm not an alcoholic. No, I don't have issues, and stuff happens. Challenge us to explore what we want to do, not what the normal is. Like I said, I came out and took advantage of the GI Bill, and I thought I wanted to do this, I thought I wanted to do that, and then halfway through it, I found out the hard way. So please challenge your veterans that you are around, whether you're a teacher, admin staff, or even in the VA. Challenge your veterans to better themselves, because when they're okay with themselves, when they respect themselves as a veteran and as a civilian, then they can move forward. Like now, I'm moving forward now. So please. So.